Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Robinson Motorsports Weekend Garage Vlog. I already worked on Woods Ripper a little bit tonight, getting the air filter, tightening, or just putting a wrench on all the bolts and nuts and whatnot. I fixed my kicker. The bolt wasn't loose, it was red Loctited. I know I have a history of that, but the washer was starting to kind of cup out a little bit on it. So I put a new washer on it, actually double washered it, two different sizes to kind of help keep that kicker in there and keep it from loosening up. Lube the clutch cable, check the air filter, tire pressures, and sag I'm going to be setting on site at the event. I'm going to get there a little early. It's Pavilion. It's about 51 minutes away. The race is in 2 days, so that should be fun. I also have this KDX 220. It's an '01. One of my friend bought it, who actually lives like 2 streets over, and he wanted to race Pavilion, but he ran into some family issues, so he won't be racing that, but he still wants me to look it over and make a list of parts that he needs, things that should be addressed. So I'll be doing that tonight, and I don't know, it might be a short episode. I might chime in here and there with that. Cleaning off my workbench here, I came across this. Thought it'd be important to go over it real quick. This is the only thing that I carry in my Camelback when I race Harescrambles. Enduros, I may take a little bit more, like an energy gel or something, but this is basically every time I ride, this is with me. And what's in it is spare plug, gapped, ready to go, brand new, not used. A spark plug wrench. I actually cut it down so it fits in here. And then the last thing is a tow strap. The theory behind all of this is if you douche it in a stream or you follow a plug out, anything, you can take the plug out with the wrench, replace it with a brand new one after you wring out your air filter, try to get all the water out of it. And if that doesn't work, you always got a tow strap, and you should be riding with somebody at least to bring you back to the truck. As far as tools for a Harescramble, I really don't bring any with me. I might bring tools for setting the sag, measuring the sag and setting it, and maybe a flat bladed screwdriver. Other than that, I do everything in the garage the night or two before, so it shouldn't be an issue when I get there. I should worry about registering, gearing up, supplements, and getting on the track and getting ready to go and race. So think about what you carry. I would carry at least these bare minimum. That's one reason I do like 2 strokes. Is really all you need is a plug and a spark plug wrench, maybe an 8mm, just for random loose stuff, or adjusting your shifter, adjusting your rear brake. That's going to be a 10, but this is basically all I would carry. Right now I can tell you that 125 is definitely lighter than this KDX 220. Alright, I gotta admit, I didn't wash it. I didn't have time, but kind of finishing up this once over with it, go over a couple things that whenever I see a bike, first couple things I always look at is wheel bearings. See if there's any play in the wheels. The front one's got just a little bit. I'd say the bearings are at like 80%. They're not going to get any better, so wheel bearings are easy. I always look at those first. I mean, wheel bearings, suspension bearings, your linkage bearing, your upper shock bearing, check those. It's real easy. All you do is you just grab onto the rear wheel with it on a stand. Try to lift it up. If there's any play in it, one of these bearings is bad or all of them are starting to go. Rear wheel bearings, these ones are actually good. The linkage bearings are actually good, which is nice. It needs a rear fender because it's kind of broken here. Air filter, I'm not even going to look at it because I already know that he should buy another one if he doesn't already have two. The other thing that you should always do whenever you're looking at bikes is check the oil level. And right here, he is definitely not in the sight glass. So look for the leak if there is one, or do an oil change, do things like that. This is after you purchase the bike, but if you're just trying to purchase it and you don't see any oil in there, assume that it's toast. Because that's the easiest thing to check, is that oil level. Moving on, there's some leaks here. Obviously you see carburetor on this side is definitely leaking, getting all over here. The power valve linkage here, the boot's leaking, and so that's obviously a power valve that's dirty. So when you see that, you can only assume that the top end isn't that fresh or isn't that new, because you would think if someone went through all the time to put a top end in, they'd clean the power valve and things like that. Well, if you bring a couple wrenches with you when you're looking at the bike, take the pipe off if it's a two-stroke. If the guy won't let you take the pipe off, then turn around and leave, because the easiest way you can see the health of an engine, two-stroke, take the pipe off and look in the exhaust port. This one, I don't know if we can get it. I'll get the flashlight. See if we can get in here and see some stuff. So you can see the back of the cylinder. Doesn't look too bad. And I'll kick it over so you can see the piston here. You can see the back of the piston, the exhaust side, which is going to get most of the heat. It doesn't look... Piston doesn't look too bad. Couple scores in it, but the top end's got to come off anyways, because I got to clean the power valve, because if you noticed in there, it was all black and, well, this. So, top end gasket kit, check the piston out, measure ring gaps, piston clearance, things like that. Check the crank while it's off. I mean, top end kit's gonna cost you, I don't know what it is for KDXs, but I know for my YZ125 they're like $12 for a Tusk top end kit, and that's a really good peace of mind after the purchase. I mean, you can budget that into your purchase too, of just that gasket kit, so then you know what the health or what the inside of the engine looks like. The radiator here has got a pretty good dinger in it. It's not leaking, because you would see like little pools around here. There is fluid in it. I already checked. This is easy to fix. I got a block of wood and a box that I've straightened a couple radiators out, but I'd highly suggest protection for the radiators. I have Duval, I think, braces on that. They're enough that it's more steel, or it's more aluminum around the radiator, that if I do land on the side of it, it doesn't completely fold it in like that. It kind of tweaks it a little bit. So needs a skid plate. One of his fork seals is leaking. That is pretty evident here. You can see this one's all kind of dusty. This one's a little oily. And there's a tear in the boot here. You stick your finger in there and you get oil. So the rear shock is a little spongy. So I would definitely suggest doing a suspension service on it while I'm in there doing that, I suggest dropping the Racetech DDC valves in it. I have them in my DR650 and they're awesome. It makes my forks feel almost like a cartridge fork, which is, for a conventional fork, that's awesome. Any type of dampening that you can get in there other than the spring or whatever the hell that's going on inside here is a plus. So, carb obviously needs to be cleaned. I heard this run, it was running when I picked it up. So, I'm not too worried about that whole thing. I just want to clean the power valve for him. And check those piston clearances, because if he needs a piston for it, then we'll put a piston in. It's really not a big... It's a two-stroke. So whenever you buy a two-stroke, always assume top-end gasket kit and a piston. Because then you know that the top end is fresh for you. You can go off of maintenance on that. And you can check the connecting rod wire in there. So those are a couple of things that I just go over. Chain. Check the brake rotors just to see if they're flat. Right here, the braking surface is all you want to check. See if there's a big lip right here on the back of it and on the front of it, and this one's pretty much brand new. So is the rear. It's already got new brake pads on it. He's got new steel braided lines, which is good. I mean, brake system's already been through. So I guess I'll call him, text. Actually, I got to come up with some like die-hard things that I need to do, like clean that power valve, clean the carb, front wheel bearings, suspension. I'll come up with prices for everything for him, but I probably won't charge him much because it's a cool bike and I know he wants to get back into riding. So I know he just bought it too. He's only got into like third gear in it. I just want to make sure that it's gonna run for him. He also mentioned to me that he might want to race next year, so maybe he'll be the first. How did I say this the other day? He could be the first. No, he'd be the first entry in the Robinson Motorsports amateur race competition racing program that we have here. And what that is, basically, give me beer and I will fix your bike. Alright, so I just pretty much broke everything down into engine, suspension, and things that are cosmetic that I think that he would benefit from. The engine, top end gasket kit, the power valve boot, clutch cover gasket, the union that goes between the pipe and the silencer, training oil, Bellraid 80 weight, excuse me, drain plug gasket, the pipe springs and coolant all come to like $59. The top end gasket kit was $16, so it's a little bit more expensive, but then everything else is kind of OEM stuff. Clutch cover gasket, it looks like it could possibly be leaking, but the other thing is it's $13 insurance to know exactly where your clutch is. So I'm already going to be doing some engine work, so it wouldn't be bad to pull the clutch cover off, measure those plates, and check out the steels to see how the health of that is. Then fork seals, fork oil, basically suspension service. The shock bumper is rotted and dried out, so he's going to need another one of those. I think they're like $15. The seal head's probably going to run him 20 or 30. And then fork oil, things like that. Basic suspension service there. Don't know about the DDCs. I'll write that down. I think they're like 115, 150. I don't know. But cosmetic things, radiator braces. We're talking about protection here too. Radiator braces, skid plate, because it doesn't have a skid plate on it. The engine cases are so vulnerable to rocks, things kicking up into it. And he's going to need a rear fender because that one's he's probably going to lose that in the next race. So I'll talk to him, see what he wants to do about stuff. The $59 pretty much to go through the engine and just inspect things and measure some stuff really isn't bad for parts. Labor wise, I have a parts washer here. I've been kind of kicking around the idea of an ultrasonic cleaner. I know a guy, Morgan at Highland Cycles. He uses one. It's like, I think it's 12 and a half inches by, it's a 10 or 15 liter one. He loves it. Puts Fabuloso in it. But they're like $130, and I just haven't really thought I needed it because it works good for linkages, carburetors, things like everything that's dirty on this. It would work perfect for. So I might talk this guy into buying me that ultrasonic cleaner, and then I'll do all that engine work for him. Hours wise, it would probably take me 4 or 5 hours to just go through and inspect everything and make sure it's all right. Um, yeah, any shop is going to charge you $75 to $100 an hour. So you're thinking 4 hours, that's $400 just to go through and inspect. You must be out of your mind. That's why I don't charge much. Just give me beer. I'll know the health of the engine. You'll know the health of the engine, and then we can go from there. Piston for it, Wiseco is 117, and the OEM is 110 without the rings. So if he needs a piston, it's going to be another $150 because you need the wrist pin with it too. But I'll already have the top end gasket kit ready to go, so that's a good thing there. Yeah, so that's kind of just what I do here. What I do with my bikes, every winter I kind of tear them down. Like I said, those top end gasket kits are 12 to $16, so it's not a bad idea to tear things down, look at it, inspect it, so then you know you're going to be good and not waiting for the motor to blow up or the engine to blow up. Two strokes, I mean, catastrophic failure, you're talking another $210 to get it plated, and you're doing the entire engine. Preventative maintenance, and preventative maintenance costs you a little bit of money, but it's better in the long run because you're not down for a week, or you're not waiting for the cylinder to come back, and you're not spending 5, 6, $700 on an engine rebuild in the middle of a race season. So if you like what you see, if you want to see more of this stuff, subscribe to my channel. I have a Facebook page, Robinson Motorsports. Like that. I post pictures here and there and memes that I think are funny. Comment if you think you find parts better, or you have any ideas that you could help this guy out with. These KDXs, I don't want to say they're new to me, but they're kind of one of the bikes that I know are wash and wear. So let me know in the comments down there what you think I should definitely do, if you like those emulators, or if you should just go for the 46mm fork swap. It'd be nice if I could put the YZ forks on it. That'd be sweet. But like, comment, share, and I guess I'll see you on the next one.